Once again, we're joined by our good friend Carlos Rodriguez, President, CEO, Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Tell folks, Carlos, what the food bank is and why it matters so much.
Well, the food bank is the primary fighter against hunger throughout New Jersey, and we're doing it two ways. First, making sure that we can take care of that immediate need for food, but also looking and trying to solve why that need exists in the first place.
So let's do this. We're doing this program in the summer of 2019. Summer hunger is?
Summer hunger is over 400,000 children in our state that rely on school meals, whether it be breakfast or lunch, and during the summer, those meals are gone. So families are working hard, not having that school breakfast or school lunch that they relied on or counted on during the school year, and now have to fend for themselves during the summer. The impact is, you know, our response is more of 100,000 meals every summer that we're helping to produce and creating awareness around where those meals can exist in areas of high need.
You know, and I'm curious, you and I were talking right before we got on the air, that, and by the way, we're involved in a public awareness initiative with the Community Food Bank to talk about food insecurity and related issues. One of the things that struck me, and some of our higher ed partners and folks we work with at Seton Hall and also at Berkeley, is that, you know, food insecurity affects college students in a certain way. A, how are college students affected? And B, what are colleges doing together with the food bank to deal with it directly to help their students?
Well, I mean, first, you have to think that 900,000 people in New Jersey are in need of food or food insecure.
8+ million folks, 900,000.
Exactly. That's close to 10% of the population. That's almost everyone. So to realize that there is need in college campus shouldn't be a surprise. Hunger exists in every community and throughout every demographic in our state.
Whose responsibility is that?
That's all of our responsibility. It's private sector, it's charitable sector, it's government sector coming together, because our state will not thrive if hunger exists.
So some colleges are, in fact, they have food pantries right on campus, right?
So since about 2014, we've been working with various colleges to help them start food pantries, to support the food pantry, and to help them understand what else can be done for their college population. Many students just struggle, especially first-generation students, just to get into school and to manage the reality of and the balance of paying for going to school and paying for life.
How do you get them to do it? Because I know the Berkeley folks, actually in Newark, on the Newark campus, literally a mile from here, have it. How do you get them to do it?
Steve, it starts with awareness, and in many cases, the awareness comes from within. So once we started promoting, I mean, we learn everything from talking to our neighbors. So we found a neighbor that was in college going to local pantries. One thing led to another about 5 years ago, and now we have over 16 programs that we've helped start or support throughout the state.
How do you get students, because the other part of this is we found out there are community service initiatives where students are involved in what?
So most of most of the college campuses have students that are involved either in food drives, helping to pick up the food, helping to actually run the pantry, and some of our more advanced models, you're helping to coordinate services within those pantries. Because chances are, if you're in need of food, there's probably other things you're eligible for and are not aware of.
Well, let's talk about this whole question, because we're talking about these food problems, and I'm looking at my notes because Jackie Heyer and I were talking about this, and we're like, how do we have this huge problem with food insecurity? There are so many people struggling to find healthy food, and then you got food waste.
That's exactly
Make
right.
sense of that for us.
Well, because the problem of hunger in our community and our society even is not a lack of food. It's a lack of access to food. And so there's this disparity that we actually have a lot of food. We actually have food waste as a byproduct of that. What we don't have is people with the financial means to go and shop when the food is ready and consumable. So one of the things that we do is make sure, and we've been in this business for over 45 years, the anti-food waste business, making sure that before food becomes waste, we can rescue it and we can put it in the hands of our New Jerseyans who need it most.
You know, you're a nonprofit, we're a nonprofit, NJTV is a nonprofit, but we have to run lean, right? We have to raise money all the time. Talk about the role that you and your organization have to play when it comes to getting corporations to care about this when they're saying, wait a minute, we got bottom line issues, we're a publicly traded company sometimes, we got stock price, and then you're saying I got to be involved in Community Food Bank. Talk about that.
Well, the great news is in New Jersey, if you're a major corporation, you're involved with the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. And you should be, because you're not going to have a thriving workforce, you're not going to have a consumer base, you're not going to have an educated population if they're hungry. All of these things, if you think about the fundamental basic thing that food is, you're not going to develop if you're a child. You're not going to learn whether you're an adult, young adult or a child, and you're not going to have the strength to be the smartest workforce that you can be. So this is very much an issue that crosses across all sectors.
And by the way, Valley, one of the folks that they're doing that actually helped create an initiative?
Yeah, Valley, one of our newest funders and partners, and they came in to support our workforce development initiative.
What does that mean?
That is, we have a 15-week program where we teach adults life skills and culinary arts while they're learning, and then they get job placement. And while they do that, they help us prepare the meals for the after-school programs and the summer meals programs we spoke about.
Because how does what we're describing right now and other initiatives actually help the quote-unquote root causes of hunger and food insecurity?
Well, our workforce development piece is clear. So we're not just providing the food, we're teaching, we're doing the proverbial teach you how to fish. And then, with job placement rates is over 90%, the impact is big, not only for the individual, but for the community as well. The other thing that we do is we connect families with resources. So SNAP outreach is something that
Tell folks, SNAP is the
SNAP
acronym
is formerly
for...
known as food stamps, right? That's the easiest way to describe it. And so many working families and individuals are eligible and don't know that they're eligible because it's primarily designed for working families. But when you fall in need, all of a sudden, the last thing you think is that that program is for you.
Before I let you out here, we talked about the problem on college campuses and other places. Young children. We have a serious initiative called Right from the Start NJ that looks at infants and toddlers and the challenges they have, the things they need. How do these issues affect that population? By the way, put up the Right from the Start NJ. Here, team's already 6 steps ahead. Go ahead.
So 1 in 7 children suffer from food insecurity in New Jersey. In counties like Atlantic, Cape May, and Cumberland, it's as high as 1 in 5 children don't know where the next meal is coming from. So if you think about a child who goes to school on an empty stomach or wakes up on an empty stomach.
How can he or she learn?
Well, exactly right. How do they develop during those early developmental years? So it's a critical part. It's really the fuel that helps us grow, that helps us be as productive individuals in our society. And we all have a vested interest in that.
A few seconds left. Do you sense, cause that we're more committed, we care more than we have in the past about these issues?
I'm hopeful. I am absolutely hopeful. We have commitments from the private sectors, from individuals, and now from the government sector. We have renewed interest. Very proud to be working with our legislature and our governor on a slate of bills that are comprehensive in their approach and making sure that there's funding available. But there's a lot of work to do.
Absolutely, and there's also a lot of programming to be done on this. Carlos will be back in late 2019. Give us an update. Talk about those legislative initiatives. Carlos Rodriguez, President and CEO of Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Thank you for joining us on State of Affairs. I'm Steve Adubato. This is NJTV's Agnes Vera studio in Newark. We'll check you out next time.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 30 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of State of Affairs with Steve Adubato has been provided by Seton Hall University, Valley Bank, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, Hackensack Meridian Health, NJM Insurance Group, Choose New Jersey, and by ADP. Promotional support provided by Meadowlands Chamber and by NJ Biz,